What's up, guys? Raz Sports back at it again with another video. Today I'm going to be going over my top 12 wide receivers in fantasy football this season. Without further ado, let's begin. At number 1, I have CeeDee Lamb. Pretty self-explanatory. The only thing that could scare me from drafting him is his contract situation. If he gets worse, if he does a holdout in the coming weeks, then I have to update my rankings. But as of right now, he's number 1. Number 2 might surprise some people. I have Jamar Chase at number 2. He finished as a wide receiver 11 last year, so this was why it might be a little bit surprising, right? But if you look past that and look further into his situation, Joe Burrow entered that year hurt, and he had like a calf injury until looking better in like week 3, week 4, right? So for the first like 2-3 weeks, Jamar Chase, like his production wasn't valid because Joe Burrow was hurt, okay? And he also was out for the season in week 11. So what I'm doing is I'm going to look at the points Jamar Chase scored from week 3 to week 10, right? Because week 11, Joe Burrow got hurt in like the second quarter. So that performance, I'm not going to look at that, okay? So during this week 3 to week 10 time span, Jamar Chase averaged 23.33 fantasy points per game in full PPR settings. By the way, this is PPR ranking. That would be wide receiver 1 numbers, right? Wide receiver 1 overall. He's poised for a breakout if Joe Burrow and him both stay healthy. He's has too much potential, and I really feel like he's going to be the wide receiver 1 overall this year. I can't put him at number 1 because CeeDee Lamb wasn't number 1 last year and still has the same situation. So yeah. At number 3, I have Tyreek Hill. He was fantastic the past 2 years. I had him both years, even his first year in Miami. But the thing is, he's 30 years old, okay? He relies a lot on his speed, and as you get older, your athletic gifts are going to start getting slightly worse every year, right? Once defenses figured out the Dolphins' offense this past year, his production went down. It didn't go like all the way to the bottom, obviously, but it wasn't 40 points per game like it was for like a while, or like 30 points per game, right? His last 4 weeks, he averaged 15.95 points per game, and that's still pretty good, but it's not deserving of wide receiver 1 overall, in my opinion. He's still an elite player, but he's not deserving of first or second place. At number 4, I have Justin Jefferson. He's the best wide receiver in the NFL talent-wise, right? But not in fantasy. He has a QB downgrade. He had Kirk Cousins last year, but it's not as bad as people think, right? McCarthy looked pretty good in the preseason game, and even though it's just one preseason game, it's like I have reason to be optimistic about his quarterback situation, right? Plus, Justin Jefferson averaged 18.62 points per game without Kirk Cousins last year, with Nick Mullins and Joshua Dobbs, who's literally an astronaut, right? No hate, but that's still crazy impressive. So I have Justin Jefferson finishing, or as my 4th ranked wide receiver. At number 5, I have Amon Ra. This might seem a little low to people because I've seen people having him at like 3 consistently overall. He's a great wide receiver, but he doesn't have the potential ceiling to finish as a wide receiver 1 overall, right? He's going to be very consistent. He might give you one 30-point game, but the Lions have lots of mouths to feed, especially with Gibbs and Laporta entering the second year and Jameson Williams finally having a healthy offseason to work. So I feel like he's going to lose some target volume, and also he just doesn't have that explosive playability that Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, and CeeDee Lamb all have. At number 6, I have AJ Brown. From week 1 to week 9, he was a wide receiver 2. Playing out, he broke the NFL record for 6 games in a row with 125 receiving yards and more. But then, like the rest of the Eagles team, after the bye, he kind of fell off, right? He still averaged 14.37 points if you take out an outlier Chiefs game performance, right? So that's still decent, but obviously not as good as he was before. I expect the Eagles to have figured out what went wrong in that time span and solved it over the course of 9 months. They had 9 months to figure out what went wrong, and I feel like they pretty much solved it. And AJ Brown showed us that he has a ceiling to be the wide receiver 1 overall. In the first 9 weeks, he was literally the wide receiver 2, only behind Tyreek Hill. Yeah. So at number 7, I have Garrett Wilson. He's an uber talented receiver, right? His first 2 seasons in the league, and they were both over 1,000 yards with horrible quarterback play. He had Zach Wilson and Mike White throwing him the ball, okay? Now he has Aaron Rodgers. He was supposed to have Aaron Rodgers last year too, but Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles the first game of the season. But he's had plenty of time to rest up and heal, right? The last time that Aaron Rodgers had a receiver of this caliber, it was Devonte Adams, and he was the wide receiver 1 in fantasy for like 3 years in a row. I'm not saying Garrett Wilson is going to be as good as Devonte Adams, because if he was, I'd probably put him like top 3 in this list, right? But he's still an elite wide receiver, and I think like Garrett Wilson is going to have an amazing season this year, a breakout season. At number 8, I have Marvin Harrison Jr. He's the best rookie wide receiver prospect we've seen since Jamar Chase, and he compares to Jamar Chase, AJ Green, and Julio Jones as a prospect talent-wise entering the NFL. Like, these guys are all like the top, cream of the top prospects. Chase finished as a wide receiver 5 in his rookie year because he had a good quarterback in Joe Burrow. Because normally when you have teams picking these elite like wide receiver prospects, they don't have good quarterbacks, right? So that's why they don't perform well. But Jamar Chase had Joe Burrow, and Marvin Harrison Jr. has Kyler Murray. So, we can expect similar results. At number 9, I have Drake London. He has a pretty similar story to Garrett Wilson, although he had a slightly worse QB upgrade. Like, Kirk Cousins is obviously way better than Desmond Ridder, right? But Aaron Rodgers is just another level, right? He projects to be the wide receiver 1 for Kirk Cousins and should be a significant upgrade than previous quarterbacks like Desmond Ridder. Also, Arthur Smith is gone, so the new coach should have much better like an offensive scheme that caters and utilizes the top weapons instead of like Johnny Smith did it last year. And number 10, I have Devonte Adams. It could be Debo. I could possibly put Debo in the spot if Brandon Ayuk gets traded, but as of right now, I'm putting Devonte Adams here. He's pretty old. He's turning 32 this year. He's the oldest wide receiver on my top 12 list. And he had a pretty weird year last year as well. But he averaged 16.28 points per game over the last 9 weeks of the season when Antonio Pierce took over. That's pretty good. Gardner Minshew supported Michael Pittman Jr. to be a wide receiver 1 finish last year, and now he's the quarterback on the Raiders, along with Aiden O'Connell, but I feel like Gardner Minshew will probably win over the starting spot. So Devonte Adams could still finish as a wide receiver 1, albeit on the lower end. He definitely has a talent, but he's getting older and up there in age. Number 11, I have Cooper Kupp / Puka Nacua, depending on Puka's health, right? Puka injured his knee during training camp, and McVay brushed it off, right? He did the same thing for Kupp last year, but Kupp's injury was a lot worse than he was letting on. There's a possibility that Puka enters this year hurt, just like Kupp did last year, right? Also, in games both Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp played, Puka's production decreased significantly, right? People forget how dominant Cooper Kupp was in 2021, finishing as the wide receiver 1 overall. He broke so many records that year. He had the Triple Crown, and he averaged 22.4 points per game in 2022 as well. And last year he had some pretty dominant outings as well. I expect Kupp to be the better wide receiver in LA this year, especially because he's entering the season healthy and if Puka's injury lingers on longer. And number 12, this might be a little bit of a hot take, but I have DK Metcalf finishing as wide receiver 12. DK Metcalf, obviously we know he has insane athletic, God-given abilities, right? 6'4", 240 pounds, runs a 4.3, okay? He also has gotten better in his route running and catching abilities. Now, this year he's playing with the best offensive line he's ever had in his career, which means his quarterback has more time to throw him the ball, which last year Geno Smith did not have a luxury, right? Also, DK Metcalf has a new offensive coordinator, aka Ryan Grubb, who was the Washington Huskies offensive coordinator this past year. And if you've seen their games, they ran like an offensive air raid type scheme. They just throw it up to the big receivers. They had a great receiver in Rome Odunze, and DK Metcalf is better than Rome Odunze. So, we might see some of the action happening again. And deep balls means a lot of fantasy points, especially if you have someone like DK Metcalf. I made another video about this topic if you guys want to check it out for more information. But yeah. So yeah, that's my top 12 wide receiver list in fantasy. There's some pretty honorable mentions that are pretty close to making it, Chris Olave. But yeah, if you guys like this video, just please give me a like, comment, subscribe, and let me know how you guys think I did. All right. Hope you guys have a great day.